Good morning. I'm Bob Brown. My Dharma name is Juan Bapon, and I'll talk to you today about the concept of heaven and earth. At every Sunday service, we bow to the fourfold graces, one of which is the grace of heaven and earth. We often use the term Kanji, which means nature and the universe. We believe that we humans, heaven and earth, are all one, including but not limited to what we Westerners might call Mother Nature. Master Sotasan, the founder of Won Buddhism, developed the concept of Il-Won Song, the one circle image, indicating that all things in the universe are as one, and all have a Buddha nature. Master Sotasan said, we cannot live without heaven and earth, and that's pretty easy for we Westerners to accept. The soil, the rain, light and darkness, the sun and the moon, and even the wind provide us with the sustenance we need. And we try to grasp the concept of the limitlessness of the universe, which has no ending and no beginning. Master Sotasan described the characteristics of heaven and earth as radiant, steadfast, meticulous, just, reasonable, vast and immeasurable, eternal and imperishable, accepting, free of a sense of self, without good or ill fortune, and free of thoughts and applications. That's quite a lot to absorb and attribute to heaven, earth, and even more so to ourselves, because we, as Westerners, have tended to think of these three as separate entities, heaven and earth and ourselves. But notice that Master Sotasan gave heaven and earth the same attributes that we as humans aspire to have, because we're one with heaven and earth. Not long ago, I had a major conflict in my life that reminded me of all this. I was serving on the board of our homeowners association, and we have very strict rules about cutting down trees in our neighborhood. A few weeks ago, my wife and I heard chainsaws across our little lake, so we went to investigate. We found loggers were cutting down a number of 80-foot tall, 50-year-old trees. I literally lost it. I became so angry that I had to leave. I let my wife Regan talk to the homeowners while I went on a walk to contemplate and to calm down. I don't recall ever having been so angry. But why was I so angry? I've seen commercial timber operations before, but not in my own neighborhood. I believe I was so upset because I truly see myself as one with nature, or heaven and earth, if you will. To me, cutting down 50-year-old healthy trees without a good reason is almost like cutting down the family pet, or worse. I've spent much of my professional and personal life in the woods and in nature as a biologist. And we live in this neighborhood because we like our lake and the trees. I've often considered the woods to be my temple. It's paradise to me, literally heaven on earth. Spending time there is my opportunity to lose my sense of self and at least temporarily escape my life of causes and conditions. So seeing someone abruptly change that temple was offensive to me. But as I calmed down, I also realized that I was also one with those homeowners, as well as the logging crew. They too have a Buddha nature, right? So I returned and apologized to them and explained my behavior. They didn't know anything about our neighborhood rules, so it wasn't entirely their fault. So we are one not only with Mother Nature and the universe, but with all other people as well. Those whose actions we like and those whose actions we don't like. That can be a real struggle sometimes. So what are we to make of this oneness? The concept that we are not separate from heaven and earth, all other peoples in the whole universe. Master Sotasan said, we should show our gratitude by modeling ourselves in the way or Tao of heaven and earth. He suggested we show our appreciation in 8 ways. First, by inquiring into the nature of human affairs. Secondly, by applying ourselves and our actions to achieve our goals. By avoiding becoming enticed by remoteness or closeness, intimacy or distance, joy or anger, sorrow or happiness, and thus ever keeping with the middle way. By first scrutinizing our possible actions and choosing the reasonable ones and abandoning the unreasonable ones. By being free of partiality, by becoming liberated from the changes of birth, old age, sickness, and death. By finding ill in fortunate events and good in unfortunate events, and avoid being enticed by the possibility of good or ill future. And finally, by nurturing the way that is free of thought and action or at rest, harboring no concept or sign before rendering spiritual, physical, or material beneficence. Thus, we should not expect anything in return from heaven and earth or our fellow human beings as a result of our appreciation and goodwill. Heaven and earth do not bestow blessings or happiness, grief or bad luck. Nature in the universe does not recognize itself. It has no ego or self. It simply is. To understand this, we must first recognize that we in the universe are impermanent. It's said that all the cells in our body are replaced every 7 years, some cells a lot faster. I know that I'm not the same person, mentally or physically, that I was last year, yesterday, or even earlier this morning. Of course, we naturally have a sense of self in order to function in the world. But as Buddhists, we're told to have no self, just like heaven and earth. Well, how do we do that? First, we must recognize that the self we have is an image that we have constructed in our mind based on our upbringing, education, and experiences, put together from causes and conditions from our 5 aggregates. I recently read the book Eco-Dharma by Dr. David Loy, who says that we need to realize that the self is empty, an impermanent manifestation of something greater than ourselves, that we may not understand, but that we're open to. To me, that would be the concept of Il-Wan, that we are all one. As evidence of our oneness with heaven and earth, Dr. Loy relates that our bodies are made up of the same elements that make up the oceans, rivers, mountains, and trees. Our blood is salty because it duplicates our original ocean home. In fact, we share 98% of our DNA with chimpanzees and bonobos. And of course, we share 99.99% of our DNA with all other humans, be they black or white, tall or short, Republican or Democrat, tree huggers or tree cutters. In fact, Dr. Loy says we can't return to the natural world because we've never left it. And just like our body parts cooperate with each other to make our whole human system work, so too do the sun, the moon, stars, and the earth make a giant cooperative that makes the whole universe work. Dr. Loy says that when we realize that the world is a mutual, interdependent, impermanent, and cooperative enterprise, and that human beings are all mutual friends in this process of birth, old age, suffering, and death, then we can build a noble, even heavenly environment. Wouldn't that be paradise or heaven on earth? As I mentioned, I find heaven on earth, or paradise if you wish to call it that, in my surroundings. When I look into the daytime sky, I'm reminded that the sun is the source of all life, as is the rain. But when I look into the sky at night, my thoughts are of a great vastness or great void. I know the moon and the stars I see are but a few compared to the billions of others in the universe, which has no end. But really? No end? How can that be? My human mind can't grasp a fourth dimension. But I'm reminded that the universe is limitless. Both we and the universe have no beginning and no ending, no birth or death, all formless, constantly changing, and impermanent. I personally struggle to understand this, much as I struggle to understand myself. I tell myself that I may never fully understand my original Buddha nature or find enlightenment. That's okay. It's the journey and my practice that makes me a better person, not necessarily the destination. And though I don't always understand it, the seeking brings me peace, or as the Christian Bible says, the peace that passes all understanding. But of course, our earth, which is also our heaven, sometimes struggles too. Climate change, pollution, wars, and human injustice plague both our planet and ourselves. Master Sotasan said that if we show ingratitude towards heaven and earth, or each other, we will receive punishment from heaven. Or as the Christian Bible says, Father, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. But fortunately, we're not just observers of the cosmos. We are active participants. We can do things. Mother Teresa was once told that her work was merely a drop in the bucket of what was needed. So why bother? She answered, the ocean is made of tiny drops. And remember Master Sotasan's admonition that every step you take and everything you do is Buddha Dharma. Remember also our sacred chant, Sanjo. May you attain eternal life in heaven and earth, perpetually shining, even with the extinction of all things. I may not be able to save the world, but I can recycle a can, I can plant a tree, help a neighbor. If we all do these kinds of things, we can make the world a better place. And I can work on my own mind. Mahatma Gandhi has said, the greatness of human beings is not so much in their being able to remake the world, but in being able to remake themselves. And Master Sotasan said, if people want to improve the world, they must first improve their own mind. I'd like to close now with a poem by the author and conservationist Wendell Berry. It's one of my favorites, and I personally believe it reminds us of the oneness of the heaven and earth and how we, as humans, fit in. It's called The Peace of Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests, in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. Thank you.